introduce Representative Dan Zolikov. I'm sure all you guys know him. He's going to say a few words and introduce Matt. So give Matt and Dan a round of applause here.
My name is Daniel Zolikov, and I am a third-term representative out of Billings. And I'm from Roundup, graduated 2005, and I have come back many summers to coach swimming. And one of those summers I was coaching swimming, and like if you ever coach, you try to cut costs, and you go like sleep in the park or anybody's house. And one of those summers, Matt was in the Senate, I was in the House. I actually called him up. I'm like, hey, I'm like in Glendive. Do you mind if I crash at your place? And Matt was like, yeah. And not only did they let me crash, they made me a great meal. And I don't know. I think it's good. You had, I think, chicken and maybe I think it's mac and cheese. It was very well taken care of. And so anyway, I got to know Matt. We never served in the same body. He served in the Senate when I was there, and I served in the House. So you know. Kind of keep the senators humble every once in a while with their lesser house than us guys over here. But no, Matt's always been a great guy. I've known him 6 years now, and when he's running for state auditor, that was awesome that he like ran that and kicked it in the butt, and now he's running for the U.S. Senate. And I think he has a phenomenal chance to not only get elected, but actually have a pretty solid conservative voice, unlike a lot of people who somehow fall away in the middle. So thank you all for coming out, and this is Matt Rosendale. Thank you.
Daniel's being very humble, I will tell you. He was doing an outstanding job for the state of Montana in the legislature. He works very hard to keep the costs down, and he works very hard to make sure he protects the individual liberties of the people of this state. And he's been recognized not only across the state, but really he's been recognized nationwide for all his good work. So I commend you, really. You know, we're both up there serving for the same purposes, though, whether it's in Helena or whether we're talking about going up to the United States Congress. We need to make sure that we reduce spending. We need to make sure that we reduce regulations. We need to protect your property rights and your gun rights and the sanctity of life, so we can continue to see more of these young children walking around here that are going to take over this country and what we leave them with. And that's what I was sent to Helena to do, and I did it. And if you send me to Washington, D.C., then I will do the exact same thing. The problem is we've got far too many people that are up there serving right now, especially that are like John Tester, that are more concerned about the next election instead of the next generation. They continue to spend too much, they pile additional regulations on us, and they're out of touch with how it is impacting our lives. John Tester stood in front of this population of people 12 years ago and said he would not be encumbered by special interests. And now he has been recognized as the largest recipient of contributions from lobbyists of anybody in the nation. This isn't something that I found. This is something that is a simple fact that the fact checkers and politicos have already identified. He's received more money from lobbyists than Nancy Pelosi, who represents California, an enormous state. He's received more money from lobbyists than Chuck Schumer from New York, again, a large state, incredibly large population. He says that he wouldn't be anybody's pocket. Well, I will tell you, he's in everybody's pocket because he's getting more money from lobbyists than anybody in the country. He has supported open borders and sanctuary cities. We have got to protect our nation. And whether you want to talk about the need for labor and the labor markets, we can have that conversation. But I will tell you, if we do not secure our border, we're going to continue to have illegal drugs and human trafficking going across the entire nation. And that is an incredible cost, both financially and socially, to our country that we just cannot afford. He imposed Obamacare on this nation, and he literally was the deciding vote, and I've worked tirelessly to make sure that we get away from this federally run top-down, one-size-fits-all healthcare system. I brought forth all kinds of options so that you can accommodate your healthcare in a way that recognizes your budget, your specific healthcare needs, and your personal choices, which the government shouldn't have any involvement in telling you how to accommodate your healthcare. If we're going to continue to help the president advance this agenda, which has been good for our nation and great for our state, he's got to have some help. Right now, he's got a bunch of people that are in the United States Senate that are only posing as obstructionists. They're going to oppose anything that our president does to try to expand our economy or try to preserve our security. So he does need help. So here's how we're going to do it. Right now, we've got field offices across the state. There are 6 field offices in the major cities across the state of Montana, and we've got folks in there volunteering to knock on doors, to make phone calls, to put out signs. And each and every one of you can help us do the same. Even if you're not near or close enough to where you could go into Billings and help the Central Committee there, you can actually stay at your home right here in Roundup, and you can make phone calls to help us contact people. We are starting to now transition from the point of contacting potential voters to getting ready to start chasing the absentee ballots. We're 3 weeks away from early ballots being dropped. In 3 weeks, folks, I'm here to tell you, the people in the state of Montana will begin voting. And we have to make sure that we secure every single vote. And if we do that, then we're going to send Matt Rosendale to the United States Senate instead of a John Tester. We're going to re-elect a great Forte. And we will continue to send good legislators like Daniel Zolnikoff into Helena to make sure that at the local level we've got good, solid representation as well. So help those field offices, please. Help us knock on the doors, put out the signs, and make the phone calls, and we're going to get this done. Right now, the polling numbers are showing us dead even. I've been up a little bit, I've been down a wee little bit. We're dead even. This race is razor thin, but we can win it. They've spent tens of millions of dollars trying to destroy my character and distort my record of what I've done for the people of Montana. Don't fall for it. People aren't buying into those commercials, so don't fall for it. Help us continue to reach out and contact folks, and we will win these elections. Thank you so much. God bless you all, and thank you for your hard work.
Everybody sees these ads, and Matt did this against our insurance and this against our insurance. Can you address that?
Sure. So, you see the negative ads about insurance. The fact of the matter is that John Tester brought us Obamacare. You want to know why your insurance rates are high? John Tester brought us Obamacare. Since that time, I have worked feverishly to make sure that you have options to health care, to access good, affordable health care. We brought primary care provider agreements into place. It got passed through the legislature. Governor vetoed it. Basically what I did was went around him and signed what's called an advisory memorandum. And we see these primary care provider facilities popping up all over the state now. We've also approved healthcare sharing ministries and recognized them as not being an insurance product. The president has brought forward and signed into an executive order extending short-term plans so we can extend those out to 3 years, and what they call association health plans, which will allow the Farm Bureau and the Chamber of Commerce to sell health plans as well. But what we're also doing is working very hard for a program that will cover folks that have pre-existing and chronic conditions, and by doing so allows the other insurance products to be sold at a lower rate. And that is something that we did pass again during 2017, and the governor vetoed it, but now he has decided that he wants to work with the auditor's office to go ahead and get that in place. So we're very optimistic that that will also be coming forward in 2019. You know, it's interesting, the very bulk of those ads have been run against me. Even our local media has already come out and refuted those and said that John Tester is just twisting the truth. And it's a shame, because he's been in Washington for 12 years, and it just goes to show what has happened to him along this way. And his MO has now come to the one of distorting the truth. No different than he did with Admiral Ronnie Jackson when he released all that false information and caused him to not be nominated. And when he came out 2 weeks ago and said that the White House canceled his appointment with Brett Kavanaugh, and then they had to refute that as well. So, commercials, you can spend tens of millions of dollars, but this campaign, my campaign, is about the truth. And the truth will prevail. Thank you.